Hello, and welcome to a brand new day of free-to-play here on Magic the Gathering Arena. Get the dish on the latest with me, Lord Rumfish. So I'm going through the draft archetypes. I'm going to go ahead and cover black-green today. So I feel like black-green is a poorly understood and poorly described archetype within drafting here. If you've been playing Magic for a while, you probably know what to expect from black-green. It's just kind of some generically decent, grindy, mid-range card advantage engines going on in black-green. One of the two color uncommons I feel like does a good job of explaining that. The other one is a great card, but I don't think it explains the archetype very well. So let's go ahead and dive into it. So Elvish Vat Keeper is one of the signpost uncommons of green-black. So green-black colorless 3/3 ETBs incubate 2. So you get this little artifact that might be a 2/2 later. Or you can pay 5 colorless, transform target incubator token you control, and double the number of +1 counters on it. So it could be a 4/4 later. This is a good solid on-rate card, right? A 3/3 for 3 is already like a fair deal. Giving you this incubator token is added upside, and then the ability to double your incubator tokens is yet more upside. So this card, I think, is just good even in a vacuum. It's pushing you towards drafting a lot of cards with Incubate, and that's fine. But there's a lot more nuance to the green-black archetype, Golgari. There's a lot more nuance to the archetype than just taking every card you see with Incubate. I think the other two-color uncommon explains this better. Invasion of Lorwyn is a battle. It's a green, a black, and 4 colorless. So it's 6 mana, it has 5 defense. And when it ETBs, you destroy target non-elf creature an opponent controls with power X or less, where X is the number of lands you control. So at 6 mana sorcery speed, this kills almost anything you point it at. Occasionally it'll have too much power, occasionally it'll be an elf. But most of the time, this just kills whatever. It would be a poor kill spell at 6 mana, although we've seen those before in Limited. But it has added upside if you can attack it down for 5, and if it removes a blocking creature, you might be able to attack it down the turn you play it. It flips into Winnowing Forces. Elf Warrior, its power and toughness are each equal to the number of lands you control. So this is a slow card that, you kill an opponent's thing, and then later you can grind out this advantage of getting a gigantic creature on the flip side of it. And I think that does a good job of explaining the kind of mid-range, grindy, late-game control element that Wizards probably had in their hearts when they were designing black-green as an archetype. I think Herbology Instructor kind of captures some of the feel of this as well. It's a green and a colorless. It's a 1/3 Treefolk Druid. When it ETBs, you gain 3 life, so there's like a little incremental advantage. Get a good blocker, gain a little bit of life. Later you can pay 6 and either 2 life or a black mana. Transform it. So, it's slow, it's sorcery speed, the opponent sees it coming. But if you do it, it becomes a 3/3 and you kill something of the opponent's, right? It gets -X toughness where it's equal to Malady Invoker's power. I feel like these are the cards that kind of illustrate what to expect from green-black. It's going to be kind of a plodding mid-range deck. it gets a lot of early blockers, has a lot of removal, has a long sort of war of attrition with the opponent, and just kind of grinds out this value over time where all of their cards kind of represent more than a card. They trade well with the opponent's things and net you these advantages over time. So green-black is not just a, incubate archetype. You can play it that way. There's lots of good incubate cards, but I think the way to play this best is to just kind of take card advantage. Take removal, take card advantage, kind of slow the game down, stall it out a bit. Your larger, more mana-intensive cards are going to come online, and they're going to grind out value for you and get you the win. Wildwood Escort kind of illustrates the idea of like this long, grindy, kind of mid-rangey deck as well. Right, you get this 3/3 body for 5. It draws you a card, right? A creature or a battle from your graveyard. So again, you're like you put something on the battlefield and you get something back to replace it again. Or Ravenous Sailback, 3/4 for 5. When it ETBs, you can choose one. It can gain haste, which if you can attack down a battle or kill a planeswalker or something like that, it'd be worth it. Or it can destroy an artifact or enchantment, and that's the mode on this card that I think you really want to be using. It can blow up an enchantment, blow up an incubator token. You get down a body on the field, and you take something of the opponent's off the field. Overgrown Pest would work well here as well. Get down a body, find another piece of cardboard like a land or a double face card. You just you keep churning through the deck, and you keep grinding out things, and you keep affecting the board state in some way while also getting things into your hand. So you can do this kind of the traditional way. You can do it through, incubator tokens. That's fine too. But what if I told you that hiding in plain sight was a second archetype, which is entirely playable? What if I told you that green-black did about as good of a job of being the Sacrifice Aristocrats deck as black-red does? Over here on the Multiverse Legend sheet, we have Dina, Soulsteeper. She's an uncommon, so you could very much treat her like she was one of the signposts. Green and a black, she's a 1/3. Again, good early game blocker. Whenever you gain life, each opponent loses 1 life. And sneakily, the green-black Aristocrats deck can also be a life drain deck. It can serve that function as well. And Dina can sacrifice another creature. She gets a big power boost where it's equal to that creature's power. So Dina's a nice card, quite powerful, works well with an Aristocrats theme. Let's go ahead and hit up what green brings to black for Aristocrats. Black goes very deep into Aristocrats. We'll get into it in a minute. But first I want to highlight what green has to offer. Wary Thespian, 3/1 for 2. That's great. Very likely to either eat a removal spell or trade up, right, to like a 2 or 3 or maybe even a bigger creature. And when it enters the battlefield, you surveil 1. So that can net you a little incremental advantage. Seed things into your graveyard maybe, get you to the cards you need. When it dies, you surveil 1. That's also nice. So all around, this is a good package of a card, and you wouldn't mind sacrificing it either. It's got value when it dies as well. Placid Rottentail. This one kind of looks like it was handpicked for green-black Aristocrats. So it's a little 1/1 Vigilance. And when it's in the graveyard, you can pay a green and 2 and exile it. You put 2+1/+1 counters on a target creature. You only activate it as a sorcery. So you get it down early, and now you've got this sacrifice fodder that gets you some kind of additional incremental advantage after you've sacrificed it. That's great. That's exactly the kind of early game plays that Aristocrats wants. Overgrown Pest, again, just mentioning it here. It's good for just about any deck that wants to run it. Aristocrats is not going to mind netting some card advantage here and having a body that they could sacrifice if they wanted to. Converter Beast plays well with the Incubate theme. It's also a 0/1 that you're very happy to toss away with a sacrifice effect and get some kind of value out of it. And then you could return Converter Beast from your graveyard, get the ETB trigger all over again. Alright, we're moving on to black now. So a lot of these cards are going to play double duty with a black-red sacrifice deck. Red does bring some things to the table. It's got some neat black-red signpost uncommons. Red's good at making fodder, can steal the opponent's creature. It's got one or two creatures that have built-in value when they die. But as far as black-green, Dreg Recycler, it's a 2/2 for 2. Tap and sack it, no mana requirement. Tap and sack an artifact or creature, which could be itself. Each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. If you have Dina, the opponent's going to lose 2 life because you gained 1, and Dina's going to trigger. So that's neat. Also, right on the same page here, we've got Etched Familiar. It's a 3/2 for 3. Not sad to trade it in combat, not too sad to sacrifice it because the opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. And again, Dina would add a point to that. You got Edgetoast Doombringer. He's a 3/5 for 5. I can mess with battles, right? Could take 3 defense off of a battle you want to flip. It could put 3 defense onto an opponent's battle you don't want them to flip. Or it can drain the opponent for 2. And again, Dina would make that 3 life loss for the opponent. There's a fair bit of life drain play you could do with Dina in black-green. Dreg Recycler just works very nicely on the Aristocrats angle. Completed Huntmaster is just an engine. It is just an engine card for Aristocrats. It is especially nice in black-green because the signpost uncommon, the Vat Keeper, could double these incubator 3s into 6s. So whenever you sacrifice a creature or artifact, you keep piling up this value. And there's already a lot of good fodder that we've looked at. Completed Huntmaster just trades up your early creatures and also trades away anything that was going to chump block or was going to get killed by a removal spell. Can do this at instant speed. I think Completed Huntmaster is a fantastic card. Corrupted Convictions, like a reprint of Village Rites. This is another good sacrifice outlet. In this case, you'll draw cards. So again, you're gaining these incremental advantages. I wanted to point out Ichor Drinker here. It's a little lifelink vampire, which the lifelink could trigger Dina. I don't expect that'll happen very often, but maybe you're on the play, you drop an Ichor Drinker, you drop Dina on 2, you actually, deal an extra point to the opponent with Dina that way. More importantly, after this dies, you can pay a black, exile it from the graveyard, and incubate 2. So again, this gives you some little incremental advantage from it even after it's died. And Ichor Shade is a payoff. So beginning of your end step, if an artifact or creature was put in a graveyard from the battlefield this turn, which could be the opponent's stuff as well, then this gets a +1 counter. If you get 1 +1 counter onto this, then it was probably worth it. 3/4 for 3 is a nice deal. If it gets any larger than that, you're way ahead of the curve. And if the opponent doesn't, disrupt you, stop you in some way, the Ichor Shade is going to grow over the course of the game one way or another. Nizumi Informant's another nice little sacrifice fodder piece, you trade this for a card in your opponent's hand, then you can sacrifice it for value and gain some more incremental advantage that way. Now, Phyrexian Gargantua is nice too, it just draws you 2 cards. And Scornblade Berserker is a neat piece of fodder. It can give its counter away, it can sacrifice itself to draw a card, you can sacrifice it for some other effect, and the thing you give the counter to can then sacrifice itself to draw a card. And I just want to mention Blight Reaper Thallid. This is a 2/2 for 2. You can pay 3 and 2 life, or 4 because you're in the colors. Transform it as a sorcery, you get a 3/3, a 1/1, and if the 3/3 dies, you get another 1/1. Obviously, that's a ton of sacrifice fodder. So, yeah, I just wanted to let everyone out there know that green-black is a very flexible archetype. It can embrace the sacrifice theme, aristocrats, very easily. It has plenty of tools in its arsenal to do so. You can also go after the incubator token theme, and you can just have a nice mix of, just grindy value cards. Any of those or a mix of those would be fine. So I just wanted to let everyone out there know that black-green, it can be a complicated archetype because you have multiple directions you can go in, but it's extremely modular. And if you needed to build like a 3-color deck for some reason, green and black could probably play very nicely with a 3rd color. You can add in red and go after battles, or just more sacrifice theme with aristocrats. If you add in blue, you can go after the transform theme, or more of the graveyard theme of blue-black. There's so many possibilities. It's very flexible. Green has good color fixing in this set compared to what the other colors have on offer. So anyway, I just wanted to highlight this draft archetype. I felt like it needed a little bit more love and a little bit more explanation. So I hope I've delivered you some value today. Like, subscribe, all that jazz. And until next time, stay cool.